The thrill, the passion, or is it any experience which you feel?
Allows a moment to be in the moment. The only thing you can hear is your heartbeat. There is silence. Well, we trained Katrina, but yes,
You
I
did?
We
Seriously?
did. We at Orca did actually. I think she changed the meaning of diving in India from the perspective. And I think Pariniti, I mean, she's also now Paddy. She's an ambassador, and there are a lot of them taken up to it. I'm glad cancer happened to me because it taught me how to move from I'm James Bond and nothing impacts me to being vulnerable and to ask for help. I lost my hair, and there were people who would come and say, "Apna sar dhukna." I chose not to wear a wig. I lost my eyebrows. I lost my eyelashes. A lot of people, just they don't go out. I would get up and walk.
We are aware of all these things, right? कि plastic use मत करो and non-stick is bad. And where do we strike a balance?
So honesty is I think important. Being transparent is important, and believing that you can make money by not cutting corners, I think is important. And I know I sound a little bit preachy here. I managed to get lost. Holy shit, there is nothing around. I have no air. I have 20 bar in my equipment. I'm obviously inflated, so I'm not going to drown. The sun is setting. So for the first minute, I'm like, wow.
Hi Kanika, welcome to the show Unstoppable Woman, and you are one woman who's wearing multiple hats. But before I get to one of the hats, I'm very curious about your childhood. You want to start from your humble beginnings and what got this bug of the nature enthusiast in you, which is quite obvious. Just talk about your childhood.
As I was saying in my TED talk last week, I did one, and I spoke about I grew up in Lucknow.
Okay.
Family of crazy people. My mother's family, everybody was very modern. My father's family belonged to the thought of if they had the baby, men shouldn't breathe. But otherwise, everybody was in a ghumta, and here I was.
Okay.
One absolute rebel who questioned everything in life. And that's what childhood was. But I mean, with all due credit to my parents, they were like, do whatever. My father, when I was younger, most parents, and I come from a very conservative place then, not so much now, where my father would say, beta, आदमी तो आता जाता रहेगा, but पढ़ना लिखना बहुत जरूरी है. And that was home. And that
so
was,
fundamentals were very clear.
Fundamentals were very clear, do whatever. There were rules, ground rules at home. And I respected that, but I was always a rebel. So if somebody said, do this, I would always question why. Clearly not very favorite with a lot of relatives.
Okay.
But I was very clear. I mean, when I today think about it, I was very clear in my life where I wanted to be.
Okay.
And that's exactly where I am.
But उस time पे, did you have anything about being a scuba diver?
Nothing.
India's master scuba diver.
Nothing. No India's master scuba diver trainer. लोगों को मालूम ही नहीं था कि what scuba diving is.
तो वो कहाँ से शुरू हुआ?
That began actually in 2008 and 7 when I think I was with Walt Disney, and we were shooting a couple of things, and we were in Thailand. So along with many people in the crew, I was one of those people who dunked my head inside, liked it. The next time I said, not bad. Then one fine day, and I did a lot of work in films, as I was telling you. I was 20th Century Fox with Balaji Motion Pictures. And then one fine day, I said, this is not the life I want to lead. I want to learn something new. So I said, what shall I learn? So the diving had fascinated me. I had gone back to Vietnam for my open water, my advanced, and I literally went to my boss.
But did you have people around you who were into diving?
No. Okay. It was literally something. I woke up from my bed, went to office, told the assistant, "Ye pata karo scuba diving kahan sikhai jati hai?"
Bas.
So it was literally like that. It was just, it just came to me. I think it came to me, and I believe you attract what you want subconsciously and consciously.
Yeah.
I've always loved water. And as I was telling you, I come from a family where in my childhood was between jungles and rivers and, oceans and stuff like that because of my father's job.
Yeah.
I think I took to nature then, didn't realize it like any young person and wants to do all the things in modern life as I did. But eventually, I got hooked on to diving, and here I am.
What is so intriguing about diving? Is it the thrill, the passion, or is it any experience which you feel beneath water, which
calmness?
Okay.
I think it allows you a moment to be in the moment. The only thing you can hear is your heartbeat. There is silence. So every small sound. And when you look at the expanse, and as I'm talking to you, I actually can feel it. You're literally in limbo and there is only just blue. And you just realize that how small you are in the world.
God.
And yet you are all of not being small, from arrogance, from I'm this, I'm that. I think it just gives me balance. It actually, every time I dunk my head in the water, I come back, I'm like, oh, I was flying. It's time to come back to ground.
So lovely.
So that's what it does to
So
me.
nicely put. This reminds me of that movie Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara.
Well, we trained Katrina, but yes.
You
I
did?
We
Seriously?
did. We at Orca did actually.
Oh.
And yes.
Oh my God, that moment. I think every time I watch that movie, tears have to come.
Yeah.
Brilliant job.
Yeah. It was,
Brilliant.
I think she changed the meaning of diving in India from the perspective. And I think Pariniti, I mean, she's also now for Paddy, she's an ambassador, and there are a lot of them who've taken up to it. And it happened to me.
Yeah.
I that's what I say, that it happened to me.
So one is the experience and what you feel underwater. The other is the voice of ocean, which you've become.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've always believed that we are accountable for what we do, right? I mean, and if people did not learn from COVID, then you're batshit crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. So my fundamental in life is very simple. Not that it changed after COVID, but look what is happening across the world. And I think there are enough and more signs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into the politics of it, but the fundamental fact is that you don't dirty your rivers, you don't dirty your ocean, you do not litter around, because there are consequences. And it's very important that people realize that. My biggest joke is that I've been trying to live since 2019. If I die, I really don't care. I'm a cancer survivor. I don't know about others. I don't have any children, so thank God for that. But all of us have, offsprings, have children. We have to leave something for the younger generation.
Yeah.
And why I do this more often now is, one is to talk about it, and one is I want more and more people to be trained. So that when you go deep down, Shailja, you realize that how pretty and beautiful it is.
Absolutely.
It's just gorgeous.
Absolutely.
And it's like you have a beautiful home. And how would you like it if I went and came and, spit in your house or broke something and left?
Yeah. You've seen damage happening to oceans.
Yeah,
you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen divers who go, somebody's holding on to a fish to click a picture for Instagram. There are people who are, tromping on corals. Then there are people who are mindlessly hunting, because fishing is great. I think balance is very important. And I don't want to be on a high and mighty horse. I'm not here to, tell people of their life choices. I myself am a meat eater. But I think there is a balance which is required. So when you are in the ocean, I'd always tell people that when you go down, don't bring anything up besides memories. I've seen people, oh, nice puddle. Oh, that is home.
Yes.
Of
somebody
an animal.
Stays there.
Yeah. And imagine if somebody came into your house and locked it, how are you going to feel?
Exactly.
So I've been trying to, so every diver who's been trained with me, I think I'm a terror to them. At least that's what they say. I'm always very clear that be mindful, go down, follow the rules, enjoy, but you are in somebody else's space. So respect the ocean. I want to say this, that we are Indians. We always believe that jugaad chalta hai. We believe that, if you break the rules, it's okay. You don't do these things with the ocean. You respect the nature, you respect Mother Earth. 4,000 dives down. Even now when I go to water, inside the water, the first time, my heart is
dhak dhak.
Dhak dhak. Because the same water, the same spot is very different an hour later, 10 minutes later. So you have to respect the deep blue. And, be mindful, watch, make memories, picking up things, throwing plastic. People, I've seen mindless people who are rich people who have money, people who are educated, right? They're smoking and they throw in the ocean. And that a turtle has taken. And a fish. So the other day somebody said, hey, I want 1 kg fish. I was in the market. Plastic mein nahi chahiye. I said, wo to already uske andar hai. So I think it's high time that people realize this. And once upon a time, I actually thought that in this lifetime, perhaps this debauchery will not happen.
Yeah.
But I think life is moving at breakneck speed, and what is happening around, it's quite alarming.
Hmm.
So it's high time that we are more observant of what we do, respect the ocean, respect that around us, keep it clean. And that's what I've taken upon myself. I had the opportunity. And if my voice is able to reach to everybody, specifically the young people, then
No, I've
please take
absolutely.
care of the ocean.
It's reaching far and out. And like I told you, there are people in my office who have just decided to take this up very seriously.
More power.
And you know, from the superficial part of it, it looks like a passion in adventure sports, but obviously there's a lot of heart which goes into it, right?
Yeah.
Also the people you are training, they're just not doing it for adventure sports. They feel for the ocean, they feel for the experience. And that experience, like I was just telling you, that one experience I had of one scuba dive stayed with me throughout my pregnancy.
Yeah.
And it became my visualization, meditation for, and I keep telling my son about it. And he's like, oh, that's so sweet. I was in your tummy then. I'm like, yeah. So we were both swimming. But yeah, it kept me going. It kept me energized. But talking about your other passion, which is content, marketing, business side, you have done quite a bit. You want to talk about your stint at Walt Disney, perhaps?
I don't think so. You should be linear. I am everything which the Indian society says the way you should live your life. I am absolutely opposite of that. I've taken this upon myself to educate people. I don't think, Shalda, that you need to be linear. You can do many things. I mean, as I was telling you, that when I was a young girl, I knew that I wanted to do something in television. One young girl in Lucknow, उस time DD2 होता था. There was no cable beyond that. And from that to my journey to media, to
एक चित्रहार आता था.
चित्रहार आता था, yeah. And there was Shanti, which was the first show which came on DD2. Memory is not failing.
Yeah.
I remember it was my board, and my father said, "Beta, if you clear board, I will get cable at home." And from that, I was like, "No, I need to be there." And that time we had nothing, no career counseling, no internet, no, all of those. And I just had my own self, only my belief, my own self, because everybody around me was studying, and most of them were going to be married off.
Okay.
To get a good husband.
Yeah.
And here I was in my mind scheming that how am I going to go all the way from Lucknow and find this path. So I think a belief. And like I said, my early years of life was in media.
Okay.
That was first place where I wanted to learn consumer behavior. Even till date, I believe that consumer behavior is not taught in fancy boardrooms or in the office. It's on the road.
Yes.
It's in small cities.
Yes.
I learned that when I was working with Sony on Indian Idol. So we went from city to city. Those 2 years was on the road.
Yeah.
Immense learning. So early years I spent in television between marketing, branded content, managing celebrities. I realized that I had, I was likable to them because I had a fine balance of not being enamored by them and yet being able to get what I wanted.
Yeah.
I utilized it full scape. So from television, I moved to films. I was with 20th Century Fox.
Lovely.
I was with Balaji Motion Pictures. So I got to work on films.
Yeah.
Busy life, crazy life. Nothing to complain about.
And you were pursuing your passion.
And I was pursuing my passion and, fast life and clubs and private planes and parties and money and you name it. Till one fine day I realized I didn't want it.
Okay.
I literally woke up one morning and I was so exhausted from a shoot. And I said this to my boss. I said, my life cannot be running after an actor outside their vanity van trying to please their ego.
Okay.
And then my boss was like, what? And I'm like, I did not do business management to be treated like this. And my life cannot be this. I don't subscribe to this. And then I decided to quit my job and go scuba diving.
Okay.
And then my boss thought I was loony. He actually offered to pay my therapy bills because he thought something was going on. Sweet of him. And off I went. As there'll be many nairs, I had everybody from friends to everybody who said that, Kanika, who leaves their 5-figure, job and goes scuba diving?
And you went for a year?
I went for a year. And I quit my 5-figure
To-
salary
Thailand?
to Thailand, to Koh Tao.
Okay.
Small little island, beautiful. And so
And you had enough savings to obviously.
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I had exactly 25 lakhs, which I put to do this diving course. So I ran my home here and I went to Thailand. And I remember telling my friends that, so all my friends were like, how
Yeah.
can you, I mean, who'll hire you, this, that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, I'm going. So everybody, my parents were like,
क्या हो गया?
बेटा तुमको पढ़ाया लिखाया ये क्या है
पाल पोस के बड़ा किया
ये सब
इसीलिए
क्या
के लिए।
तुम ये कर रही हो so but there was one person
Who
who supported me, and that was my best friend and sister Shimona.
Okay.
And she was like, you know, she fondly calls me Mimo, and she was like, you go.
Oh, that's
So-
so sweet.
Yeah, so I was like, okay. So I went and you know, you're so, as Indians, we are, you know, we've never spent time with us. Very
We
rarely
haven't.
people do. We
We
are
haven't.
always, and when you're in films and media, you're always important, right?
Yeah.
To calls, and
Yeah.
you're important,
Yeah.
of designation and all the frills, yeah? And
Yeah.
I'm not being arrogant here, but it's a self-realization.
Yeah.
Off I go to an island, which I'm the only Indian,
Mm.
and filled with 97% British people.
Mm.
So, and then I'm like, nobody's calling me.
Mm.
Because my people in media are not calling me because I no longer have a fancy
Yeah.
job, and people there don't care who I am.
Yeah.
I learned everything. I learned how to live with myself. I
Mm.
learned how to live with my thoughts. I learned how to do things alone. I learned how to be happy by myself.
Mm.
I learned that there was nothing wrong. So I started working in a bar to earn money. So one day my father found out and he's like, "Beta ka tumhare paas paise nahi hai, to hum kya paise bhej de?" So I said, "Nahi." So I have the money, but I wanted
Part
to
of
be
the
with
experience,
people.
yeah.
Yeah, because I was 33 then,
Yeah.
and everybody who was on that island was between 18 and 22.
Mm.
And I wanted to be with them because in the
Understand
Western
the
world,
culture,
they have
understand.
a 1 year gap year.
Ah.
And I was the late bloomer.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be with them.
Yeah.
So that 1 year was spent in 2 bikinis, 1 rucksack, in a room, in a flat which I shared with 4 boys, in a room which had 1 khidki, 1 bed, and that was it.
Oh yeah, this is that movie I'm reminded of, Kangna Wali.
अब मतलब
वही।
हाँ बिल्कुल ऐसे
हाँ,
and
वैसा है।
nothing else.
हाँ.
And एक Rolex watch वो भी चोरी हो गई थी बाद में.
अरे.
And that is all I had. In the first week, I called my sister. I was like, "ये तो नहीं हो पाएगा." And my sister was like, "Kanika, you've gone. Don't fucking fail." I was like, "Okay." And like everybody, racism was very prominent at that time. And then you're Indian, and we never taught how to swim. I
Yeah.
mean, the Western children
Yeah.
swim from the time they were born.
Absolutely.
Indian children were late bloomers. So before that, I was, going in Gymkhana, and I would train every evening because the course is very extensive,
Okay.
and you have to be very strong to be able to be a
Hmm.
diving instructor.
Hmm.
And I trained myself. So every time I would go, people would be like, when all the other guys and girls will go, I would tell the boat guy, if I drown, pull me up. So I would go in while I was observing the boat on boat duty, and I would practice. That's how I learned to be at par with them.
And without any support.
Without any support.
So जब मैं डूबने वाली होंगी तो आ जाना.
हाँ मतलब
हाँ.
अगर डूब गई तो आ जाना. 2-3 बार मतलब I've been
So that was your support.
yanked up. Yeah. And they don't care. And second thing is there's no men and women. So
Yeah.
imagine, you've had designations, and then suddenly you land up at 5 in the morning. You're yanking 42 tanks from the shop to the
Yeah.
cycle to the boat,
Yeah.
in the water to another boat and back. And you're doing 3 shifts of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, oh boy, this is a lot of labor. But I promise you, this 1 year in 2013 was life lessons. I am till date, if you ask me, Kanika, if there was one thing you could change, I would say I wish I did this before. My own nephew, I've been telling him, beta padhna likhna to sab theek hai,
But
but it's
life
very
lessons.
important that life lessons. So I learned to speak 3 languages. I today have friends literally from one end of the world to another, thanks to my diving.
Yeah.
I kept diving. I was very good at it. The fun part was that I was there. Then I had a job there also, but I had to come back because at that time I also belonged to a husband. And when I came back, before I was coming to home, I realized, all the money is over.
Okay.
I have to
Okay.
pay the bills. I remember I have one of my boss, Joe's Kunnapalli, and I was with DNEG, and one of the consultant calls and says they want to speak to you. I'm like, dude, I have zero clothes. I'm off, a dive boat at 8 in the morning with hair wet, one bikini. That's how I interviewed. I got through the job. They still tease me because of a bikini, but I like to believe that I was way cooler. I came back to India and I had a job.
Wow.
And then the same friends, so the same people who were criticizing, and they were like, "Kaun naukri dega?" And like,
hum bhi kar rahe hain.
And then I associated myself with Orca Dive Club, which is in Worli, and then Anis Adinwala, who's one of my dear friends. I went to him before this and I said, "Mere ko na abhi padhana hai, mujhe batao. I'll work free." So he's like, "Aa swimming pool mein." And he's the bap of diving, right? And he will bajao you if you are not very thorough. So I train people, and I'm like, am I now up to the standard? And then he's like, you can manage with people alone. And that was it. So I was working, I was teaching diving. So I was doing over the weekends, I was traveling across the world. And then Anis was like, we also run a company known as Underwater Film Services, Orca. So I started helping with them in training celebrities for shoots. I was a
That's
part
where
of
the Katrina
yes, so there are
happened.
many films we've done, whether it was Bahubali or whether it was with Katrina, with John. We've trained many people. I've trained a lot of people.
Lovely.
So imagine something which I didn't expect to be a career path, so to speak, just unraveled itself. And the same people then were clicking pictures with me and saying, Kanika and look, and our friend. And I'm like, right.
Waqt ki baat hai.
So but I had my weak moments, and things like she's married and she went abroad. What kind of a wife is this? How can you leave all of this and go? So I had my own set
journey which we were going through.
Yeah, I had my own set of, oh my God, if I fail, or oh my God, if I don't get a job, what am I going to do?
So what kept you going?
I cannot fail. And I think a lot of it comes from the fact that I recently spoke at TED, and my topic was Main Shunye Hoon.
Achha.
You asked me a question saying that how was my childhood? Like every other child, an Indian child, the parents always compare between all the siblings and cousins and this, that or the other.
Yeah.
And most often than not, I was the rejected child.
Why?
This one can't do anything.
Achha.
Yeah. So
for whatever reason.
For whatever reasons, because I was a rebel, and like I said, I did not subscribe to whatever was told to me.
The societal norms.
Yeah. So
patterns and
so rebel, and a girl child who's a rebel is obviously bad news.
And in those days.
In those days, not today. Perhaps today also in larger part of India.
Yeah.
And I think it kept me going. I think my strength comes from there. That everybody in my family had written me off. That nothing will happen. इससे तो कोई शादी भी नहीं करेगा. And here I am on your
थोड़ा
podcast
audacity
today.
जरूरी है लाइफ में.
थोड़ा नहीं, बहुत.
आजकल के टाइम में.
आजकल के टाइम में, and specifically, I'm not a feminist, but I've always said I do a lot of talking. I speak to a lot of children. I have a lot of kids who are a part of my team. It is important for a woman to have an identity in today's time. It's important to have balance of home, family, be a wife, a lover or mother. It's very important to have your own identity. I think women in today's time require this more than today men. Back in the days, the ethos of marriage, home, family was very different than today's time. So a part of my life I have spent in mentoring women, telling them ki bhai, please be audacious. Please go make something of yourself. Stand up for your own self. Your dreams are as equal to that of a man. Have the equal seat at the table. There's so many women in corporate organizations and larger levels, at senior levels, where there are no women. I mean, it's surprising.
It's a pity. The other day I was at a panel, and I had just put the JPEG on my WhatsApp status. And one of my friends just pinged me, and she's like, you know what? Out of 5 men, you are the only female there.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I never noticed this. And if you look back, that's the case.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
It's just like we are so used to now, okay, I'm 1, they are 5, I'm 1, they are 10. But and
you're always matching up, right?
Yeah.
And I've sat at so many different tables. And I see that there are no women. And if there are very few, I mean, yeah, there are organizations who are doing this, but I think it comes from within.
Yes.
I can't hold you and say, listen, become audacious. I think you have to have
what
the
is
desire.
limiting women? What is keeping them back? Because
societal norms, we are from our childhood conditioning. The girls are taught a girl is supposed to have low voice. पूरे कपड़े ढको, पढ़ो लिखो,
लोअर आवाज में बात करो.
When you have people in my team, you know, the first thing I tell them in their appraisals, सबसे ऊंची आवाज तुम्हारी होनी चाहिए. And the second thing I say, if you are sitting on a table, you might as well be the sharpest person on that table.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're never going to get that seat on the table.
Yeah.
Now, those days are here, and it's far more easier today than it was back in the day. Yeah,
absolutely.
And therefore, I always tell women that please be audacious. You are responsible for your own happiness, for your own career. Nobody else. No mummy, daddy, husband. Nobody is going to come. And I talk to people. I've never heard a man being questioned that, oh, you're going to be on a pregnancy leave.
Yeah.
Oh, you are going to be on a period leave.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So, to me, it's very simple that if you dream of something, you want to do something, you should go all out for it. Because if you're going to be fearful, you will regret it all your life. People say that, before this turns into a monologue, and I don't mean to lecture, but people say that when you're on your deathbed, most people have regrets. I almost reached my deathbed.
Yeah.
And when I was going into the operation theatre, I told my best friend Sapan and Marina and my sister, and I said, "Agar main mar gayi, to koi baat nahi, I've lived my life."
These were your words.
Yes. And I mean it.
Because regret nahi hai.
No.
You feel you did what you had to.
Yes, I fully own everything I did in my life, whether it was right, wrong, as per my circumstances. I stood up, I fought for it, I walked. My life has not been easy. Some other day for that tale.
Yes.
But I believe that if you keep walking, the universe shines.
But you just have to keep walking.
You have to keep walking, no matter what. You can't walk, you crawl. You can't crawl, you put a finger. You put 2 fingers tomorrow, you put 3 fingers day after tomorrow.
You know, you also mentioned that it's not about feminism. Or we don't want to be gender, we want to be gender inclusive. We want to be like, both genders are equal. But the point is, the point you raised is very valid because it's a patriarchal society.
Yeah.
It is a society which favors men, and there is a lot of heavy conditioning,
yes,
which we are, kind of overburdened with.
Yeah.
And that's the reason, the genesis of the show, why I started this in the first place, because I felt there is something which is limiting women from moving ahead. वो होता है ना जो हाथी को पैर में बेड़ियां बांध देते हैं, हाथी बांधते भी नहीं है तभी वो वहीं पर रहता है.
Is like the घोड़ा which thinks that it's tied to a knot. Yeah.
तो कभी-कभी problems भी नहीं होती, but still they are not moving ahead.
You've said something very interesting, and while you were talking, I was thinking about it. I think I've been lucky to have this perspective is because I've traveled. I've always said to people, girls, boys, doesn't matter. Please travel. What your mummy, daddy, brother, sister, best friend, uncle next door taught you is not life. Look at what is happening across the globe. Go to
what
places.
Is your experience?
What is your experience?
Yeah.
How do people love? How do people hate? How are family values there? How do people have work-life balances, etc. And many things, right? Going and traveling doesn't mean standing in front of Eiffel Tower and clicking a picture and saying, I was here. But it is being inclusive in the culture and understanding and picking the best. Today, if you ask me, and we were talking, if you ask me, I would never say I belong to here. I belong nowhere. I belong to nobody. I belong nowhere. But I am somebody. And this is from all my experiences from everywhere, whether it's my education, whether it's my culinary experiences, or whether it's the way I think in my life.
So you've been open to the universe to give you what is best for you at the time it's best for you.
Absolutely, yes. I cannot tell you, Shailja, there are so many times in my life I have found myself in places where I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. And the universe has opened a way for me.
Wow.
It is, so the power of another thing is the power of gratitude.
Yeah.
I practice gratitude.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, even today, if everything in my life is going wrong,
Yeah.
I will find 20 things to be grateful for.
To be grateful for.
Including that I'm sitting here and you call me to be a part of this show. I'm grateful for that. I've had a whole shitty day today. So, to me, gratitude will always, always supersede everything in life. And I think when you shift that,
Yeah.
and you are able to move, your fears dissipate,
Yeah.
your path opens.
It's a shift of energy.
It's a shift of energy.
Yeah.
I'm not so religious, but I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
I believe what you feed to the universe sends to you. And I've started doing the power of manifestation. And I'm going to joke here. My friend asked me that, Kanika, how much money do you need to retire? So I said 25 crores. So his eyeballs came out. Like, what? So I was like, yeah. So he's like, shit, that means you have to work a lot. I'm like, firstly, work is not work because I'm very clear, Sharda. I do everything what I do. I have to enjoy it. Otherwise, I can't get up from bed. That's number one. 2, I put it on a piece of paper which says, I have 25 crores and I'm thankful for that. It is at my desk. Every morning, I have a hybrid work. So every morning I look at it. Every night I look at it. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that money literally comes to me in the strangest things.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And
no, I absolutely believe in manifestation, the power of visualization.
Yeah. And
it's also it's the energy you are tuned at, right?
Yeah.
The universe is listening and giving back to you in the same energy.
Yeah. The shifts which are happening, like if I say, hey, you know what, I want to do my food thing. I was telling you that I want to build my food piece specifically for health because cancer is on a rise. I mean, lately you must have read a report that it said that Indians are at peaking at the moment. And health, look at what is happening around that the biggest of the companies, I don't want to be slapped with a lawsuit, so I won't take their names, are now under scrutiny.
Yes.
And we are so gullible as a society that you go to a shop and then you tell the shopkeeper, "Mujhe ye de do," and the guy will say, "Madam, ye Videsh se aaya, you take it." But how silly are we? We don't even look at the back. If you look at the back, an organic food or a vegan food will have sodium levels to 800. I mean, I learned those things when I felt sick.
Yeah.
And I realized that I must pay attention.
How did you discover that
I had cancer?
Yes.
I was skiing in Serbia.
Okay.
In a place known as Kopaonik, hard to find on the map, with my best friend. And I was very excited to do my course. And I landed in Belgrade in minus 25 degrees. And the next morning I get up and I felt a lump on my left breast. And I'm like, oh, this is odd.
Just out of nowhere.
Just out. Like I was in India 2 days before and I land in Serbia and I have the lump in my breast.
And you've never got any test done?
Nothing.
No routine test, nothing?
No, nothing. I'm fine. I mean, routine test is like once a year, the corporate test, right? There's no reason for me to complain.
And you're living a healthy lifestyle.
I'm living a healthy life.
You're exercising,
I'm
swimming.
Doing all of that. I've eaten healthy. I eat my dinner at 7. I exercise. I'm a diving instructor. I'm fit.
And emotional, mental health is all
I've
fine.
had a stressful work life. I mean, it was very stressful at work.
Okay.
So that, yes. But besides that, I'd like to believe I was okay. But clearly I wasn't. And then I land in Serbia and I see that I have a lump. So I tell my best friend, I'm like, hey, you see, I have a lump. And then we both are looking at each other. She's like, shall we go to a doctor? I'm like, what rubbish. It's just that it must be too cold. I'm wearing tight clothes. And I'd be dismissive. And I'm roaming all across Serbia with her and here, this, there. I was there for 2 months. And then I also went to a doctor with her in a very little village. And the doctor spoke Serbian and I spoke in English. So the friend was translating and I told the doctor, listen, I think it's cancer. And the doctor's like, are you out of your mind? And this is not. And before that, ironically.
Why did you say that?
So when I was leaving, I was having I went to a gynecologist 2-3 times and I was sick. And I one day told my sister and my best friend, I think I have cancer.
Okay.
I think I'm going to get cancer. And then I said this the second time. So intuitively, I knew this. It's just this that I did not know it. And then the doctor said no. And I was traveling all across Serbia and skiing. And then I come to India. And as usual, I've gone back to work. And then everybody's like, oh, Kanika, has the cyst reduced? I'm like, yeah, it's reduced. I haven't done
No
nothing.
test, nothing. You haven't gone to the
Nothing
doctor.
because I'm petrified to go to hospital.
Okay.
God bless one of my friends, Shazia. One day it was a Saturday, I remember.
Yeah.
It was 26th of March. She was down my
22.
home. Yes.
Okay.
She was down my home and she's like, Niche utro. I was on a call with my boss. She's like, we're going to the doctor.
She took you.
We'll go to Suburban. We'll do a test. After that, I'll take you drinking.
Acha.
Now the
Okay.
thought of drinking, okay, let's
Okay,
go.
some incentive. Chalo.
And then I went and then I lay there and I remember the lady telling me that, asking me as you are, and I'm very casually telling her, and she's like, ma'am, you need to go to an oncologist. And I remember I couldn't see anything, I couldn't hear anything. And I was in the room with her and I'm like, what is an oncologist? I think I sounded very daft then. And then she's like, they don't say that it is cancer, but then she said it's BIRAD 3. And madam, you might need to go and it seems like cancer.
Okay.
I come out and my friend is sitting just there and she's
Yeah.
looking at me and she's like, acha, kahan chale khane, kahan pina chale? I'm looking at her and I have shocked because
Obviously.
I had
Yeah.
zoned out.
Yeah.
And I'm telling her that, they say I have cancer. And I'm looking at her eyes and she's crying. And I'm looking at her that, why are you crying? And that is how I found out that it was there. And then,
Right.
of course, the first 2 weeks went in. I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
But I had a protective layer of 7 people who just surrounded me. And they were my ears and my eyes. And
these are your friends, your colleagues.
these are my friends. These are all my colleagues from.
Scuba
No,
colleagues.
these are all people I've worked in media who've now become friends
Friends,
and family.
yeah.
My sister, my best friend who lives abroad. And they all just came together. And 2 years down the line, I'm cancer free. And I'm actually alive because of them.
1,400 bouquets?
Yes.
And counting.
And counting.
Amazing.
And I don't know how many gifts and how many duas. And I felt like Shah Rukh Khan. And for that, truly, I mean, I am so grateful. I realized that I didn't die because there's
Because of-
something I need to do in life more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, your path is very profound and
Yeah.
it
It was an epiphany. Like I was like, am I dying? And they're like, oh, please. And when I was going through all of this, I'm a follower of Durga. And I actually felt white light on my body. And I saw people's hand in dua. And I saw flowers.
Wow.
And I was like...
This is during the
time of when I was diagnosed. And I just saw that. So every time I went to the doctor, I would just see that. And I thought it was the effects of trauma, perhaps. Clearly not. And
this was a visual which you got
this was the
quite
visual.
often.
Yeah,
Quite often.
Yeah. This was the visual I had every time I had. And I
And
knew
you are a
it.
Durga.
I am a Durga
Dev-
follower. Yes, I find my
Okay.
courage from her. I normally
But there's
don't
something in
ask.
this. I mean, obviously there's something in this. It just
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
Listen, I mean,
Just-
I have strange reasons. I believe there is God and there is a power in the universe. And by the way, I believe God is a woman. I mean, have you ever imagined a man create anything?
Thank you for saying that.
Of
I've
course.
been thinking about this quite often.
Yes.
Yeah, everywhere, sirf all sadhus and sannyasis are all like,
सिर्फ चालीस
largely
के परे
men.
रहते हैं, हाँ?
और ये सारे जो God हैं वो सारे males हैं.
No,
I mean, largely.
I think God is a woman.
Nice.
I think it's a woman and a man both. It is the
yin and the yang,
and
yeah.
the divine energy.
Yeah.
And I think that people, I mean, I'm going to get into controversy, but I believe that there is no such thing as doing Murti Puja, though I do. But it is all our
Inside.
energies which are in a place and all the energies which goes up to the world and back and forth, right? The logic of magnet, etc.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe. And
Yeah.
to my mind, Shelja, I mean, as I say that sometimes most people, so I started listening to people. I started, I never asked why me. I think it's a futile question
Yeah.
because the heavens are not going to answer you.
Yeah.
The God is too busy running the world.
Yeah.
There's enough shit going on in it. So for 2 days I asked why me. Then I said, okay, if it is me, what the hell do I need
So within
to do?
2 days, you accepted it.
Yeah. I was like, okay. So I sobbed, I cried. I had very long hair till here. I lost all my hair. I remember the first time I went to the doctor, I said, will I lose my hair? And the doctor's like, huh?
Okay.
So, yeah, that was shocking. And
Hmm.
then off I went to cut my hair, and a friend of mine came.
Hmm.
See, we are conditioned, I told you, right? And the first thing she says, अच्छा पहले मैं अपना बाल मुंडवा दूंगी फिर तुम मुंडवाना है. And my first answer to her is, have you asked your husband? She's like, Kanika, did you say that? I'm like, yeah, I think cancer has affected my brains. My friend shaved her hair.
She shaved her
Yes.
hair.
And then I shaved it.
Oh.
And then my other friend in Serbia wanted to shave it. Then she came from there to here. And she was here for 2 months to take care of me along with everybody else. What is it if it is not energy and if
Absolutely,
it is not? So,
absolutely. You know,
and I've
you are on a
seen-
mission. You are required for many reasons.
I think so too.
Absolutely. I mean, I just feel so nice listening to this, that, you know, you have a support system around
Yes.
you,
Yes.
loved ones,
Yes.
and not only, like, you know, it's not family.
No.
Because you've traveled,
Yes.
because you have connected, and
Yes.
you have made families beyond your immediate biological family.
Yeah.
Everybody is there around you.
See, there are many reasons in life to feel sorry, or this didn't happen to me, or that didn't happen to me, because life is cruel to most
It
of
is.
us. Yeah, and we all are
Yeah.
fighting our own silent or not so silent battles. I think when you move with gratitude and when you accept,
You receive.
and when you're vulnerable and you're open to receiving, this was a turning point. What cancer taught us. So very rarely do I say this, but I say this always, that I'm glad cancer happened to me,
Okay.
because it taught me how to move from I'm James Bond
Hmm.
and nothing impacts me to being vulnerable and to ask for help.
Hmm.
There were days I couldn't get up, so I would have my men friend who would go with me,
Hmm.
and the doctor would say, oh, we need to change clothes, and they'll be like, I'm like, let it be. And then there is an injection, and they can't find the veins, so somebody is hitting me. One is holding my hand, one is holding my leg, one is like, acha. And then I'm like, I'm red in the face because I want to cry because it's painful. It's not
Painful,
fun.
Yeah.
And I learned, I'm like, what if I cry? It doesn't make me weak.
And you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
And it's
learned
okay.
vulnerability. It taught me that. It taught me gratitude. So like
Yeah.
most of us, it's not that I'm not grateful. I learned that gratitude must always supersede. I mean, even if we look around at the world, and I talk very pro what's happening in Palestine, so many people are dying.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding, and I'm not saying this for frills. It pains my heart. There are days I cannot sleep seeing the debauchery.
Hmm.
And it's one of my missions, actually, the day that damn border opens, to actually go and register in Red Cross or in Doctors Without Borders or somewhere to go and help people. I've been saying this for a long time.
Hmm.
I mean, and as I have been going through this journey,
Yeah.
there's actualization that, you make the most of whatever life throws at you. I think that's what has kept me going.
Hmm.
Even when I sit with you, 70% of the time I'm in pain because of my chemo and the radiation and, the impact of it. I get up each day. So for the first 2 minutes, I'm like, ooh, ouch. After that,
But
like,
after that-
I'm grateful. I'm alive.
Yeah. Can you share about your road to recovery in terms of the diet, the lifestyle change, anything else?
Yeah. So, like I said, first 2 weeks were spent in crying.
Hmm.
It was shocking.
Yeah.
I literally felt that somebody pulled the carpet off under my foot. One moment I was in Kopovnik skiing, and another moment I find myself
Yeah.
in a dark hospital bed.
Yeah.
It was frightening.
Yeah.
I didn't tell my parents. I chose not to. And then we all came together. We went to multiple doctors and then various advices. I chose a doctor in Reliance Hospital. Her name is Dr. Sivanti Le. My God bless her. I mean, that woman, she saved my life.
Yeah.
Fantastic. She's not somebody who wants to make money. And she sat us down. So I went around 8-9 doctors. You'll be shocked of medicine is also a profession today. And then we went to her, and then she was like, Kanika, there are 2 ways to this. I remember her words the first day I was on chemo table. There are 2 kinds of people who sit on this. One, those who cry through, and one, those who laugh. I think you're the latter, and you'll sail through. And one day, You will join with me to raise awareness for cancer, and you will join with me to help people. I didn't understand her words then.
Wow.
And here I am. And I've been talking a lot about it on my social media. I started talking about what I went through.
Yeah.
So from the point when I lost my hair, and there were people who would come and say, Apna sar dhak lo. I chose not to wear a wig.
Okay.
I lost my eyebrows. I lost my eyelashes. A lot of people, just, they don't go out. I would get up and walk. Every chemo I went, my friends would pick me. We would go to New Bombay, to Vashi, and then to Belapur, and then in Kharghar we would climb. So my other friends would be climbing, and my friend, I still remember Abhash and my other friends, and they would climb, and I would go in my speed,
Okay.
and I would climb because it was important, right? To keep your
physically,
strength.
Yeah, strength.
And the green, and like I said, I love nature. It healed me. That was one part. So every time there was a chemo, 3 days later, after Kanika had thrown up and all the drama of chemo and the drugs had, settled,
Yeah.
my friend Shazia would come home, 5 in the morning, tick,
Yeah.
pick me, and off 4 of us would go, and we'll be climbing somewhere.
Right.
I think that helped me.
Right.
Second, I focused completely on food. I cut processed food.
Completely.
Completely. You don't need to go through cancer to learn this. Processed foods are dangerous.
So anything which is packaged,
anything which is
kept
packaged, and specifically meat.
meat.
So whether it's deli meat or all the sausages, whatever you see in supermarkets, convenient, but really, please,
Your body doesn't need
your
it.
body doesn't need it. They can cause cancer. So processed food, a lot of alcohol. I used to smoke. I was a smoker.
Okay.
So I tried quitting for a long time, and one day with cancer, off it went. So all the people who say it's so difficult, when you get wrapped in the ass, then you learn it.
Yeah.
So there
And
I was.
sugar?
I never did sugar before. There is a myth of cancer and sugar.
Okay.
Body is not so simple. And I'm not a doctor, but what I've researched and what I've found from my doctor, there are no certain cases where sugar feeds cancer.
Okay.
Sugar
But
itself
generally,
in general is poison. So
the white sugar, especially because it
Of
eats
course.
into your bones and all of that.
So
right?
those things, your Coke, Pepsi. So I cut off processed food. I started eating
Aerated
fresh.
drinks out.
Aerated drinks out. I quit smoking.
Alcohol, smoking.
I do drink very rarely, but that 2 years I did not. But I did a social change.
Okay.
So once upon a time in life, this is a weekend. It still is a weekend. But I chose not to drink. And believe me, I didn't feel bad.
Okay.
I stopped eating from outside. So I was eating more of a lot of bone broth, a lot of vegetables. So 70% of my plate was vegetarian.
All
food.
cooked at home.
All cooked at home, made at home, freshly made, nothing cut.
And that's where your interest started.
That's where I started my interest. And I had a dietitian, God bless Kashish. She was my dietitian, God sent. So I had gained weight. So before that, I was practicing Ayurveda. I was very unhealthy thanks to the media lifestyle. So I had lost 20 kilos. And then happened cancer. I gained 10 kilos because I was doing my chemo.
Yeah.
And Kashish was like, Kanika. And I told her, I said, I don't want to lose weight. I don't want to be good looking. But
So that's
I want
not the
to
objective.
build my gut, and she helped me. So I till date, by the way, live on an Excel sheet. So a lot of
your carbs,
healthy,
your everything is there.
fresh meat. You get it in the morning, whatever meat you consume. You get it in the morning, keep it in a day, whatever. I remove plastic, like I remove plastic as if it was literal cancer.
Like every kind of plastic. Even
Everything.
which it says it's okay
No.
for storage in the fridge.
No. I mean, that's cock and bull.
We should not store.
You should not store in plastic. There are little nanoparticles of microplastic which is getting into your bloodstream. It will not cause an issue today.
So जैसे
but in
पुराने
long term.
ज़माने में स्टील के
पीतल,
बर्तन पीतल में रखते थे, that is okay.
Kach. Yeah, so I removed plastic from my homes. I removed completely non-stick. I threw non-stick out. I bought the good old cast iron.
Non-stick.
Non-stick, because see what happens is our homes are normally, most Indian homes, we have staff.
Yes.
They are using,
scrubbing it off.
scrubbing it off. So all that is going inside you. We've never paid attention to it. Like I said, God forbid, nobody should go through what I went or what other people do. And no doctor or nobody tells you these things.
Yes.
You have to learn this the hard way. So I started reading Harvard journals. I started researching. My doctor helped. She's spent a long time abroad and she's a research scholar herself.
Yeah.
So she helped me.
Yeah.
And my dietitian also was there. So I started researching, looking at the back, vegan food mein kya vegan hai, and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, I mean, if I did not mention to you that I was a cancer survivor, you wouldn't know.
Yes.
And I've looked like this even when I was going through chemo. So I learned the philosophy of what you put in your mouth
body
is what you are. And that's what I want to tell people, that as life becomes busy and as we are going and everything is easily a click away, there is a lot of merit. I can't believe I'm saying this, but there is a lot of merit in good age-old, philosophies which our parents or our grandmothers had, that eat fresh, eat in steel and things like that. And I've made a change in my life on that. I've made a change in all my friends' life. I, by the way, feed all my friends, their husbands, their children.
And they've also brought change in their life.
Yes, like some of them are getting at it. Some of them are there. But, and I'm pretty sure about
what
it.
you're saying is like, we are aware of all these things, right? Ke plastic use mat karo and non-stick is bad and there is packaged food. But sometimes, whatever the reason is, and partially I think we are to be blamed, we are part of that marketing fraternity as well. It's all about branding, end of the day.
Yes.
And brands are pumping in a lot of money behind this.
Yeah.
Where do we strike a balance?
Are you asking me as a brand or as a consumer?
Your choice. Tough one for you, but your choice.
Dear God. Okay. So as brand, of course, we need to do business. But I think authenticity is key. I believe today in the world, as today, which is no longer a VUCA world as well, it's important for brands to be honest and truthful. And that is when they're literally with the consumer, because the consumer today is shifting. There are no brand loyalties per se.
Correct.
So honesty is I think important. Being transparent is important, and believing that you can make money by not cutting corners, I think is important. And I know I sound a little bit preachy here, but that is what good practice is, right? And that's what will differentiate one to another. But as a consumer, you don't, and I want to say this to everybody, Shaja, that you don't have to believe everything.
Yeah.
I mean, for crying out loud, God's sake, I mean, Google is great.
Yeah.
Look up, look at the back, the packaging.
It's saying something.
What is it saying?
Yeah.
Is it sounding off to you?
Yeah.
Or if you don't understand, take a screenshot. If you have an Android phone, go on Google. It is your life.
Yeah.
A doctor, a hospital, a mother, father, this, that, or that. Nobody cares.
You know, the strange thing is, the other day I picked up a sugar-free snack bar. Sugar-free on the top. And when I, like you're saying, palto, palat ke dekha to wo sugar ka likha hua hai wahan.
There you go. So, like I said, it's unfortunate that in our country, there is so less of control or of rules and regulations. So, I mean, like I said, I can't be preachy. I'm part of the system.
Yeah.
But I can be conscious, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because my life is my own.
Yeah.
If something happens to me, it's me and my family. So I would want to be more mindful. So from consumer perspective, I'll say, please be mindful. Read at the back of the label. Eat healthy. You go to a lot of restaurants.
Yeah.
The finest of the restaurants are opening. You're burning. Everything is visual. You have no idea what is going into it. So once in a while, fabulous. But imagine doing that every day of your life.
Yeah.
And now somebody might say, "Saw chuhe kha ke billi hajj ko chali." So I hope no other billi has to go to the hajj. So I'm in this note just going to say, it's sometimes good to learn from other people's bad experience. You don't need to have your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Okay. At this note, I have very quirky rapid fire for you.
Yes.
Okay. I hope it's quirky enough for you. If you could turn into any marine creature for a day, which one would it be and why?
Shark.
Why?
They are the most awesome creatures on the face of this earth. Most misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I chase sharks all across. They're my favorite animal. I go hunt. Hunt doesn't mean killing.
Yeah, sure.
Hunt is everything. Hunting means from my camera.
Yeah.
The way they are in the ecosystem, they're smart. You see them move. A shark never eats human beings. You know, literally, it's us humans who made those silly films and we think that they eat human beings. No, I'm sorry to disappoint you. We are not important to them. Our meat is horrible. So if you get bitten by a shark, it'll spit you out. Of course, you might die of gangrene, which is another point, but you're not their favorite food.
Okay.
And I said that why they're my favorite, because how they are. You see their movement, you see their habits, how one crosses the other if you see a school of them. Or how they are, how one is dominant and other is. They're so intelligent. And yet they have the name that they are, you know. I mean, normally if you tell somebody, hey, you know, this person is a shark, it's taken in a derogative way.
Yeah.
But I think they are the most
intelligent.
Yes.
Okay. What's the most peculiar item you've encountered while diving? And you've kept it with you?
Oh, okay. So, I was, that was about 2012. I was diving in Vietnam in a place known as Phu Quoc Island.
Okay.
And it was really bad. And I went diving in the water, and then I was new. And it was so bad that you couldn't see. I had 4 instructors for 1 student because it was literally like a hailstorm inside. And then I put my, I was wearing a quarter wetsuit, so my knees were exposed.
Yeah.
And one moment I felt pain.
Okay.
And I was bitten by one of the sea urchins. So sea urchins are those normally black ones, and they're pointy. And it got stuck. So obviously new to diving, and I came up and I saw it stuck here, and the instructor, she was Australian. She's like panicking, and I'm like, ouch, this hurts. So she took it out, and they put vinegar.
Okay.
And then she wanted to throw it, and I said, okay, let me do it. And I kept it.
You kept it?
I kept the urchin.
Okay.
I obviously couldn't get the urchin from Phu Quoc Island to India. I would be behind bars.
Yeah.
But I was so miffed that I was like, I wanted to keep it till at that point in time I was traveling with somebody, and they're like, listen, it's not fun to go to jail.
Yeah.
So you must leave it here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the only time in my life I picked something from the ocean.
Yeah.
Today when I think about it, I think it was stupid. But it was fun.
Okay, share a funny blooper or unexpected moment from your scuba diving adventures.
Right. So,
Yes.
this is just before COVID.
Yeah.
This is 2020. I was diving with a couple of my friends from the industry. And we went diving, and we were on a liveaboard in Maldives. And one of my friends, she was not a diver. And that was one time I learned that never teach friends and family. Just never.
Never.
And
Okay.
no. And my friend and I, so I'm an instructor, arrogance does come in. What can happen to me? Literally, like, right? So everybody's gone in the water, and they're deep down inside because there is a school of manta.
Okay.
And my friend was there, and she was having issues, and I was on top. Now, I was not leading that dive, so I did not know the coordinates.
Okay.
My visuals were bubbles.
Correct.
And I said, you guys go down, and I'm coming. And
Yeah.
then my friend was there, and she kept going up and down, and I was going up and down with her. And in that, it was really crazy that day. And I should have been more stricter with her, but I wasn't. It was a learning for me. To the point we realized 5 minutes later, we are lost. We are 20 meters in the water, and we are lost. And I have my dive computer, but I don't know where to go because the bubbles have gone. The ocean is crazy. The surge is huge. And as a rule in diving, that you look around for a minute and then you exit on top. Because you're not allowed. And then I find my friend.
Yeah.
So I take her up.
Yeah.
And we see the dive board really far.
Yeah.
We go to the dive board.
Yeah.
I tell my friend to climb up because she's in no condition. And I'm like, I will go down. And then again, I'm seeing the bubbles somewhere dur.
Achha.
So I go down and I've gone down. And in all of this, up and down, I managed to get lost. And and it's like, it's 5:30, 5:45 in the evening. I mean, I'm saying this, but I come up and we have something known as a surface marker buoy, which says diver below, which we normally use so that no boat or cruise liner which is on the ocean hurts you.
Okay.
So I come up, it's 5:45. I'm like, holy shit, there is nothing around. I have drifted into the channel. We were in the open channel. For kilometers, there was nothing.
No sight.
There's nothing.
Nothing.
And I have no air. I have 20 bar in my equipment. I'm obviously inflated, so I'm not going to drown. The sun is setting. So for the first minute, I'm like, wow. I thought about all the two million gods. And I'm like, kiski pratna karu? Thought about my mom, dad. I was like, aaj to I'm going to be supper to either a fish or something. 20-25 minutes, I'm just hanging there because there's nothing I can do. Somewhere far, I hear a water scooter chugging.
Okay.
And I'm waving this yellow surface marker buoy, and we have a whistle. And I'm waving there. Then after 25 minutes, a guy comes on a scooter and says, yo, what's up? And I'm like, this guy. So it's like, are you lost? I'm like, yes, bro. Thanks for stopping. He's like, you need a lift? I'm like, looks like, sure.
Yeah.
So he yanks me with my entire equipment on. And now in all of that, I have forgotten the name of the boat. Because I'm thinking that how am I going to die? Because there's no way in hell they can find me if I was lost.
Yeah.
So the guy's like, okay, let's go. I had drifted, Sharjah, 5 kilometers into the open ocean.
Oh my God.
And then he's going around, and he was a part of another liveaboard, and there were divers where he spotted me.
Okay.
So we did an entire turn on this thingy, and there were 4 boats being parked there, because normally on liveaboards, you don't do that. You don't run the boat in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
We normally embark them, right? In the open sea, in the coves. And then they're like, oh, does this one belong to you? Does that one belong to you? And I'm like, no. Yeah. The only thing I can remember is that we had an Italian on board who was the course director. And then they're calling radio, diver lost. And nobody has found out that I'm lost. Because I'm an instructor, and they all know that there are times when I'm not teaching, I take my camera, I've disappeared. I mean, we don't dive alone, but people know that I'm trained and stuff. I go to the boat, they're like, Then I recognize one of the guys, curly hair guys. I'm like, oh, he's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, yeah, I almost died. And I come, and then nobody's come up. Yeah. Everybody's down in a dive. They come up, they're like, hey, where are you? I said, I almost died. They're like, yeah. So that night when I sat, I remember this conversation with Anees and me, and he's like, are you okay? I'm like, hell no. And then I was like, wondering the next morning. It took a minute to get into the water. But I knew that if I don't get into the water now, I'll never be able to. But that was one day I thought I was gone.
Oh my God, that moment to go back into that water.
Yes. I thought I was gone.
Amazing. Okay, if you were to host an underwater dinner party for your marine animals, which guest would absolutely make the guest list?
Okay. All my diving friends.
Okay. In Dubai, in underwater house.
Yes, all my diving friends specifically. So, none of my friends took to me, unfortunately. There are only 2 people who've taken to me. My nephew, Cheyenne. I think he's more like me than unlike his mother. I hope she's not hearing this podcast. So him, because we have this, and my best friend, Marina, she's also a diver. So 2 of them, certainly.
Okay. Last one. What's the wackiest and the most unexpected scuba diving related question you've been asked?
Hi, am I having my periods? Are the sharks going to eat me? Yes, many times. And I'm like, what?
Oh, yes. God, lovely, Kanika. You know, there is saying in Hindi, na, Sarv Gun Sampan. I think that's what you are. You've got this mixed bag of everything, which, I could imagine what Unstoppable Woman should be and is all about. This show, you embody this show. You can be
Thank
the
you.
brand ambassador for us.
It is very kind of you to say that.
And thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for having me. It's a pleasure. At least I got to meet another person. So more exciting. But I wish you the very best.
Thank you so
And
much.
I think with the sessions like these, I'm certain that more women, young, old, and otherwise, are listening. And I think if they can learn anything from all our lives, because we all need that,
Yeah.
that hope, that one
Yeah.
push.
Yeah.
I think it's life well lived.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you. And to you as well.
Thank you.